Hello and welcome to Leeroy Gaming, where today I will continue my deep dive of looking into the Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous classes and subclasses. Now, in my previous two videos, we had gone over basically starting with the Alchemist, and we have gone through the Cavalier. Now, today's episode is going to be a little special because I had a request from one of our viewers to take a look at the Witch class. So originally I was just going to go in order, but I said, you know what? If somebody takes the time to comment and make a request, I'm not going to make them wait this long. So why not? I'm going to break my own OCD rule of going through everything in order. And today on a special episode, we are going to deep dive looking at everything to do with the Witch as well as the Wizard. So hopefully you enjoy. If you have any requests or questions, please leave them in the comments below. I do respond, and as hopefully you see with this video, I do my best to react to provide you what you want in these videos. And also, of course, if you do like the content, want to help out the channel, hit that like, subscribe to see further content as well. So with that being said, let us go ahead and jump right in, and we are going to start with the Witch class. So, a lot of flavor text for the Witch. Let's take a look at this. Some gain power through study, some through devotion, others through blood. But the Witch gains power from her communion with the unknown. Generally feared and misunderstood, the Witch draws her magic from a pact made of an otherworldly power. Communing with the source, using her familiar as a conduit, the Witch gains not only a host of spells, but a number of strange abilities known as Hexes. As a witch grows in power, she might learn about the source of her magic, but some remain blissfully unaware. Some are even afraid of the source, fearful of what it might be or where its true purpose lie. While many witches are reclusive, living on the edge of civilization, some live within society, openly or in hiding. The blend of witches' spells makes them adept at filling a number of different roles, from seer to healer, and their hexes grant them a number of abilities that are useful in a fight. Some witches travel about seeking greater knowledge and better understanding of the mysterious powers that guide them. So, class skills, let's see here. Lore, nature, persuasion, we got knowledge, world arcana, and then use magic devices. Pretty basic there. Now let's take a look at the feats and special abilities associated with the Witch. So they're going to start with Hexes. So they're going to learn a number of magic tricks called Hexes, grant them powers or weaken foes. At first level, a witch gains one hex of her choice. She gets an additional hex at second level, and for every 2 levels after second level. A witch cannot select an individual hex more than once. So it looks like she's going to have quite a few. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hexes, which is interesting. We will take a look at these in just a moment. I'll push through it so we can look at the familiar options and also the hexes, since it's such a major part of this. Now, Witch is familiar, so at first level, Witch forms a close bond with a familiar. So similar sounds like a wizard or so. A creature that teaches her magic and helps to guide her along her path. So they also aid a witch by granting her skill bonuses and additional spells, and help with some types of magic. Great. So Witch's Familiar begins to play a story at storing all of the level 0 witch spells plus 3 first level spells of the Witch's choice. The Witch also selects a number of additional first level spells equal to her intelligence modifier stored in a familiar. At each new Witch level, she adds 2 new spells of any spell level or levels that she can cast to her familiar. Interesting, Witch can also add additional spells to her familiar through a special ritual. So this definitely seems like the source of her energy, so you're going to want to make sure your familiar stays alive, assuming they can be targeted. So major hex is at level 10, and every 2 levels thereafter, Witch can choose a major hex. And then grand hex at 18, and every 2 levels after, so I'm guessing 18 and 20, Witch can choose a grand hex. Patron, so you're going to pick a, so at first level, when a witch gains her familiar, she must also select a patron. So this is that vague and mysterious force that influences her and gives her powers. And then at second level and every 2 levels thereafter, a witch patron adds new spells to witch's list of spells. They're also automatically added to the list of spells stored by the familiar. So it sounds like maybe she stores she knows her own sets of spells, and then additional storage on the pet is what it sounds like, or the familiar. And she's proficient with all simple weapons, so no armor proficiencies, no martial, so a very pure caster. Now let's go ahead, as I mentioned, we're going to take a look at some of these extra features before we look at the subclasses. Just going to pick through these nice and quick. So choose a heritage. Oh, interesting. So, this was the tiefling. Don't mind this element. That has nothing to do with the class. Just going to pump the stats really quick just to get this done. Let's see, just there we go. I'm going to randomly just select these. I am not even going to look at the spells. Beats, alright. The background does not matter. Okay, alright, so here's the familiar. Wow, so we get cat familiar, centipede, chicken, dog, duck, hare, jerboa, whatever that is, a lizard, a monkey, a rabbit, a rat, raven, tarantula, and viper. That's pretty cool. And it looks like they have different bonuses. Oh wow, so like a viper give you +3 persuasion and 2 perception. Most over these, they're just all like either looks like a +2 or +3s. So fortitude saves and perception, reflex save, perception. Simply, do they all give perception? So they're always a perception and then a different skill or save. So there's mobility, AC, that's pretty powerful for a lizard. Athletics check, initiative, +3 to knowledge world, knowledge lore. Wow, +3 hits and +3 hit points. That's kind of cool. Will save and caddis stealth check. So lots of different bonuses. So that's kind of cool. We'll just, you know what? Viper sounds pretty. Just because. And here's the patrons. Oh, interesting. Is that the name of a patron? Agility? Oh, so here are the spells. So like the agility patron, expedient, retreat, cat's grace, all these movement-based skills as you can see on screen here. Ancestor, so aid, prayer, shield of dawn. Look at this angelic aspect, raider, weird. Deception gives you a lot of invisibility, vanish, etc. as you can see on the screen here. Devotion gives you divine favor, invisibility, so a mix of some offensive, defensive, holy aura, heal, or is that mass heal? Elements, shocking grasp, firebolt, dragon's breath. That's pretty cool. So all different elementals. Endurance patron. So here are all the defensive ones. Stunning barrier, barrier endurance, mass barrier endurance, greater restoration, healing, obviously, cleanse, the different type of heals, cures, remove diseases. So this is really cool. Depending on how you want to build, your witch could be, like quite literally, you could just turn her into like a cleric healer kind of style, or you could be almost like more wizarding elements, or, you know, buffer or debuffer, insanity. So color spray, so you get all the, this has a combination of healing, but also like confusion, mind fog, kind of crowd control, mercy, more kind of healing, resurrection in this case, mass healing, shadows. Ooh, so this is interesting. Vanishing, blur. This is also very defensive. Obviously, shadow conjurations. You can summon different things. Strength. So this is if you want to, probably for buffing other people, more important, because you're not going to be really buff. You know, putting a strength buff on a witch isn't that big. And then transfer. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is cool. Check this out. Wow. So you can V-shape and even up to Dragon Kind 3 and shape change. So this is huge because sorcerers can at high levels turn into dragons, especially in Dragon Kind 3 and some other builds, I think. But this is, you could basically be a witch that's a transformer, wizards in disguise, or witches in disguise. Pretty cool. All right. So those are all the really cool patrons. Bigger impact than I thought it would have, to be honest with you. And then finally, let's take a look at hexes. Now, okay, so this is the full list. I'm going to kind of go through this with you guys, kind of quickly, kind of slowly. Ameliorating, the witch can touch creatures, suppress, and protect it from negative conditions. So you can look at the rest of this. So it can protect dazzled, fatigued, shaken, or sickened. Okay. Aura of Purity. Disease, inhaled poison, noxious gas effects are negated in a 10-foot aura. Oh, wow. And so it's number of minutes. Again, and 1 minute is 10 turns, 6 seconds each. So this can last for a very, very long time. Cackle. Let me see here. A witch can, let's see, 30-foot radius. Any creature that is within 30 feet that is under the effect of an evil eye hex, fortune hex, or protective luck has the duration of the hex of 10. Okay, so this extends those negative debuffs. And here they are. Here are the ones that we're talking about. So you get the evil eye hex, lowers their AC ability checks. So I know of these kind of spells where you get to choose. In the menu, it'll let you, you'll have the options. It's like you select evil eye, and it'll be like evil eye minus AC or evil eye ability check. You can put it on your hotbar. Fortune, so increases luck. And again, these seems to last a decent amount. What do we got here? Like this one right here is only for one round because it makes sense because it's a little more powerful. Healing. So this hex is a Cure Light Wound. Okay. And then it upgrades to Moderate Wound. Now you can only use this once per 24 hours. So, okay. Ice Plant. This is kind of cool. Just +2 natural armor, which is pretty cool. Misfortune. So this is obviously when you hex an enemy, and when they're going to attack, do a saving throw, you basically get disadvantage. You got to roll twice, and take the worst one, and then it kind of powers up here as you level up as well. Nails. So basically, you add extra natural weapons. Protective luck. Cause fate to twist, so it benefits a creature within 30 feet for 1 round. Okay, so again, for 1 round makes it so that when things attack them, they get disadvantage. So again, some of these are much more situational. Some of them are kind of like you kind of got to time it correctly, which is a little more cumbersome. Some are prolonged buffs. Some are things like instant heals, sleep, or slumber. Again, looks like a sleep spell equivalent. Vulnerability Curse. Makes enemies vulnerable to energy. Interesting. So, during which any energy resistance or energy immunity of the targets are suppressed. That's huge, especially if an enemy has immunity to fire. Well, like a fire elemental. Well, not anymore. You can actually damage your fire ability. So this, depending on your build, is huge. So let's say you just have a bunch of fire spells. You have this hex just in case you run into something that has high fire resistances. You get rid of that. So I could see this be universally better, especially since this can work on any elements. Now, if they do a successful will save, it only lasts 1 round, but it still works. And then ward, a creature. So it's not this. The difference between this and Ice Plant. Ice Plant is 2 natural armor to you only. This is a different type of bonus, so you could stack these. You could get like +4 AC, but you can also cast this on other people. So deflection bonus, as well as resistance bonus on saving throw. So this is pretty cool. Now it is basically lasts until the ward creature is hit or fails a saving throw. So it doesn't last a long time, but it is kind of like it can stay on as long as you keep dodging stuff. It can stay on you indefinitely. So pretty cool. And then here are ones I'm assuming that are, the higher level ones like Agony. We'll take a look at that. It's a major hex. So that's the one you need to be, I believe, level 10 or higher. Causing them to suffer intense pain, nausea. So this is kind of like gonna take people. It's a crowd control, obviously, effect. Animal Servant. And this is Grand Hex. Now, Grand Hex is tough. You don't get that till 18 or 20. But at that point, you can turn a humanoid enemy into an animal and rob it of its free will. So you basically turn an enemy into a beast shape too. He keeps his intelligence score. Interesting. So you're a dominant. You get to control them. They basically become a pet. Interesting. That does not receive. So I don't know how long this lasts. I'm guessing it lasts as long as the B shape 2 would. So unless they resist it, then they can not be targeted again. Animal skin. So this is B shape 2. Now again, if you have that heritage like transformation like I chose, you won't need this because transform already, but in case you have a different patron, this allows you to polymorph into a leopard. Beast gift. Interesting. So you basically give natural attacks to an enemy, to an ally. Death's curse. So you can hack somebody, and if you succeed, they're going to be fatigued. And when the fatigue effect, I believe it lowers their attack to hit and some other debuffs. And then you become exhausted or even more tired. On the third round, the creature dies unless succeed. Wow. Wow, death curse. That's huge. So basically, if they don't succeed over 3 turns, they die. And there's extra damage here. So creatures that fail the first save but succeed at the second, they stay exhausted, take 46 plus 1 damage per level of the witch. So again, this is a Grand Hex again, very powerful. Delicious Fright. This is a major hex. Shaken for a number of rounds. Okay, and then you get bonuses against them. That's interesting. Hex channel energy. So that's cool. Your channel. So I'm assuming this means that witches get maybe subsets or general. Get the channel energy, makes it more powerful. This is good because it sounds like, I wonder if you can take this multiple times. Oh, it does. Specifically, you have to be Hex Channeler. A lot of the channel energies aren't that powerful, but being able to add extra 1d6s on this and maybe multiple times, it could let you specialize in it. Or Frost. Target is rimmed with a shell of frost needles, and it slowly works their way into flesh. Ooh. Oh, you're taking constitution damage, so that lowers their max health. Interesting. So, yeah, and it talks about here about how to get out of it. Lay to rest. Target single undead creature, as if it was an undeath to death spell. Huh. I wonder if that just means it just insta kill undead, and it's a Grand Hex, which is what it sounds like. Life Giver. Ooh, it's basically an resurrection, but it's a better form of resurrection. Doesn't require any materials. Pretty cool. It is a touch spell, so you can't do it from range, and it is one of the Grand, so you're not getting this till 18 plus. Major ameliorating. This is the upgraded version of ameliorating. Oh, interesting. So this gets rid of the witch uses one of the following conditions each time she uses the hex. Either blind, curse, disease, poison. If the target is affected of the chosen condition, that condition is suppressed for a number of minutes. So it's kind of protecting either yourself or getting it off of other people. Major healing. Basically equivalent of cure serious wounds. And again, just like the other healing spell, you can only use it once per level, once per 24 hours on a person, and it can upgrade to critical. Regeneration sinew, okay. Oh, fast healing 5, that's really powerful. So again, what that means, that number, it's like every round, which is every 6 seconds in game, or on the turn-based, every turn, if you're playing turn-based, it'll heal you just 5 health automatic. That's quite powerful and Pathfinder. It is a major hex, so that's 10 plus. And then finally you got, this is an upgrade to Slumber. Restless Slumber, which causes creatures 30 feet to fall asleep. So, what is the difference? This functions as a Slumber hex. Okay, so it's gonna, on top of it being crowd control, it actually takes damage. 1d10 points of damage, and I'm assuming that does not, and it does not wake them up. So that's pretty huge. And when it wakes, its adult state causes it to be confused. That's huge too, because when they're confused, they could attack allies or enemies. Pretty powerful. Again, it's a major hex, 10 plus, but this could be a very powerful CC. So those are all of those, and then there's obviously spells, etc. So Let's go ahead now and we will go back to take a look at the subclasses. All right. So the first one is going to be Hagbound. Whether a channel a changing in a process of succumbing to her mother's call, a witch cursed by a hag to become her instrument of torment, a vain and petty witch overeager for power, or some other unfortunate soul. A hagbound witch finds its soul has been infected by hag's spite and powerful, corrupt arcane magic. Her mind and body begin to transform to reflect her new being. Hagbound witches suffer a slow transformative taint that is similar to the accursed corruption and make ideal candidates for the additional power and tragedy. Ooh. So it looks like punched muscle. So at second level, warty growth and knobby muscles twist the hagbound body, +2 size bonus to her strength score. And then it goes up to 4 and even +6. So are we talking about this is like a melee witch? Very interesting. Wow, okay. Also gets the familiar. Simple weapon. So again, you get all the strength, but you don't get any armor proficiencies. Hag's Claw, so you get natural attacks. Okay. And a Hagbound patron must select one of the following: Deception, Endurance, Shadow, or Strength. She gets the Hex, not as many Hexes. Get the Major Hex, Grand Hex, and then a 20th Hag Transformation. So 20th level, the Hagbound transforms into a true hag, purging all goodness and light from her exchange for dark powers. Her type changes to monstrous humanoid. She gains immunity, charm, and fear effect. She also gains spell resistance 31. That's huge. It's 30. Wow. So I think that means the first 31 points of damage you take from magic each attack, it's negated. That is huge. So it's a little weird, I'll say, this build, because again, they're not really built to be melee, but you could, you know, especially with the base attack bonus, doesn't scale as much. But if you look at here, it looks like a 1-level progression. It just happens to start at 0 instead of 1. So it doesn't have only a slightly slower. It just still levels up once every level. And then gets multiple attacks still. So not too bad. Okay, you know what? I take that back. You know, I misread this. This is showing every, like, whatever reason, it doesn't show level 3 or 5. So it does have the slower progression. So it's a double-edged sword. She could be more melee, it can make her a little more tougher, but she's not going to have the same armor proficiency. She's not going to have the same base attack bonus scaling as like a fighter or any of the martial classes, but it's an interesting hybrid. Hex Channeler. A Hex Channeler is a witch who devotes herself to either life healing or wounding and destroying the undead or death, slaying the living and aiding undead. So this is kind of a witch / cleric. Still have your hexes, it looks like. The full spectrum. Get the witch's familiar. You get same patron, same weapon proficiency, and then starting level 2, get that channel energy. Second level Hex Channeler can call upon her patron, release basically AoE energy. So if you're good, it's going to be AoE healing. That also does damage to undead. If you're evil witch, just like an evil cleric, you can do AoE damage and AoE healing to undead. So pretty cool. You can see the rest of the descriptor reading this. Major hexes still, and then the grand hex. You don't get anything at 20. So just basically, if you want to be a, I don't know why you wouldn't really do this as opposed to the normal witch. Yeah, like, honestly, it doesn't look like you lose anything. So it sounds like, oh, I take it back. You sacrifice 1 hex. So you basically get the channeling instead of that first hex. So unless you really don't like channel energy, this is probably the way to go. Leyline Guardian. Some witches tap into the power of their patrons, not through a special connection with a familiar, rather directly through the vast network of ley lines that crosses the plains. These witches can harness the latent power of ley lines without even needing to be near one of the points where ley lines powers are accessible to mortal spellcasting. That may sound like a bunch of nonsense to you, potentially, but let's see what this means functionally. So Conduit Surge, so you get rid of the, so you still, they move the hexes. So Dave, here it looks like you maybe get one less or so. We'll take a look at that in just a second. You get the Patron, Simple Weapon Proficiency, and Leyline Powered. So let's see what these are related. So Conduit Surge, at first level, a Leyline Guardian is adapted channeling energy from ley lines to enhance spells. So as a swift action, you can increase her effective caster level for the next spell she casts 1d4 -1 levels. After performing Conduit Surge, the Leyline Guardian must succeed order to save or become staggered. So she can basically superpower her spells, but at a risk. So you want to make sure you have high constitution so you can kind of survive the Super Saiyan power-ups. Leyline Power, so instead of preparing her spells, the Leyline Guardian draws the power casting spells directly from ley lines. The Leyline Guardian is a spontaneous spellcaster, so this is very much like a sorcerer. She knows the same number of spells and receives the same number of spell slots per day as a sorcerer. For which level? Yeah, as I mentioned. So she's kind of like a sorcerer witch that can superpower her spells. So, thematically quite cool, even though the descriptors are looking. And finally, we got Stigmatized Witch. Some witches think of their magic not as a gift, but as a curse. Her body is tarnished with the mark of her ill fate. Maybe the patron of such a witch was cruel and decided that power mustn't come cheap, or maybe they mercifully helped the witch to turn the adversaries that befell her into a source of new strength. Stigmatized witch relies on intuition. Her magic is based not on the sharpness of her wit, but on the strength of her character. Instead of the regular powers granted by a patron, such a witch gets a curse like an oracle. She casts her spells spontaneously like a sorcerer. So, multiple differences here. Is this insinuating that they're talking about strength of character? Maybe they're charisma based? And they're spontaneous casters as well, as I mentioned, and a different source of their powers. So curse instead of hexes, I guess, even though here it still says hexes. Looks like these are all the same. You got the familiar, simple weapon proficiency, and the oracle curse. So each oracle is cursed, but the curse comes from a benefit as well as a hindrance. This choice is made at first level, and once made, it cannot be changed. It can't be removed or dispelled. We will take a quick look at that in a second. Still Major Hex and Grand Hex. Alright, so let's go take a look. If we can. Is it going to let us? Random. Let's get to... So the first level Hex. Oracle Curse. So blackened. Your hands or forearms are shriveled and blackened. If you plunge your arms into a blazing fire, your thin pale skin is sensitive to touch. So you're not going to... I mean, witches are not already good at melee. -4 on weapon attack rolls. So, but you add Burning Hands to your list of spells known. Wow. And then you can add Scorched Ray. And then 10th, you get Fire Snakes. Makes your attack rolls even worse. And then you get Hellfire. So, let's be honest. Most witches are not going to melee. But this lets you just, like, burn the bejesus out of people. Which is kind of cool. Demonic. Your heart is cursed the pool of the abyss. So you take a -2 penalty on Persuasion. Or Diplomacy. Okay. You gain a +2 bonus of Persuasion skills when used to intimidate. Okay, so when you're using aggressively, it's better. Otherwise, it's bad, and it becomes a class spell. You get really resistant to fear, +4 bonus. Immunity to poison at 10th, and then your weapons turn to they're chaotic and evil for overcoming damage reduction. So obviously, demonic, quite bad, evil. Hellbound. So this is you're being influenced by a demon or infernal. Again, same thing, -3 penalty to persuasion. So instead of fear buffs, you get charm, fear, protection, +4, immunity to fire, and then lawful evil. Interesting thing, if you guys don't know, the difference between devils, which is hellbound, and demons. Basically, devils are very lawful, so lawful evil, and demons are chaotic, so chaotic evil. So they don't get along. Devils and demons, it's heavy into lore stuff, but there's historically they're constantly battling each other. And lame. Oh, that sounds. It's like, hey, I'm lame. That's horrible to say to a D&D player. So one of your legs is permanently wounded, reducing your baseline speed by 10. So you're moving like normal creature 20 feet instead of 30. Your speed is never reduced due to encumbrance, so you can just technically you would be able to unload on this person. The only problem is in this game, your carry weight is collective. So yeah, from what I can see in the interface. So 5th level, you're immune to fatigued conditions, but not exhaustion. So you could throw heavy armor on her because at 10th, your speed is never moved. And then you're immune to exhaustion conditions. So it's interesting, but I mean, there's cooler ones. Plagued. Suffer from minor ailments and sicknesses. While you struggle to resist new diseases, you have grown accustomed to many inconvenience of sickness. Interesting. So you take -1 penalty on all the saving throws against diseases, but you're immune to the second condition. At 5th, add Pox Pustules to your list of 2nd level Oracle spells. So it's like, yeah, you get these diseases, but you can spread it too. 10th level, increase the DC of any disease effects you create. So you're getting more potent at spreading diseases. And then you become, at 15, you are immune to the effects of diseases. So while it starts as a hindrance, eventually become a master of diseases and nothing bugs you. Powerless Prophecy. You're forewarned of danger but can't act to prevent it. Ooh, you get Uncanny Dodge as a rogue class, but you are staggered for the entire first round of combat. So you have a real big disadvantage the first round. After that, you're much more dodgy. So you get to go earlier, +4 initiative bonus. Improved Uncanny Dodge at 10th. That's nice. You get a +4 insight on all your saving throws and to your AC during the first round. That's the round that you're staggered. Don't forget. So even though you're staggered and ineffective, you're also, by the 15th level, nobody's going to touch you. Pranked. Capricious Fae constantly bedevil you, playing pranks on you, such as tying your shoelaces together, hiding your gear, making appropriate noises or smells. So, in addition to any social consequence of such mischief, you take a -4 penalty to initiative, but you get Fairy Fire list of spells. So, again, you're going to be going later. And 5th, you get Glitter Dust and Mirror Image, especially. Mirror Image is real nice. 10th level, Confusion. 15, you add Insanity. So, interesting. Thematic. Wasting. Your body's slowly rotting away. Lovely. -4 penalty to Charisma-based skill checks. Lovely. Except for Persuasion checks for use Intimidation. +4 competency bonus to saves made against disease. Okay. You become immune to 2nd condition at 5th, but not nauseated. Immune to disease is 10th. Immune to nauseated by 15th. So some correlation of the plagued, but you're not actually spreading and casting plagues. You're just becoming immune, but obviously some charisma-based negative elements. And then Wolf Scarred Face. Your face is deformed as though you were born with a wolf's muzzle instead of ordinary nose or jaw. Many mistaken you for a werewolf, and an area is plagued by lycanthropes. You must take pain to hide your face. So you get a natural bite attack. You get a magic thing to your known spells, and makes your bites better. At level 10, you deal damage by your bite to increase to 1d8, or 1d6 if you're small. And at 15, you get Greater Magical Fang. And your bite attack is even more powerful. So basically, you're just getting an extra natural attack from it. So, quite interesting. You could combo this in an interesting way with some other combinations. So, lots and lots of different options. And then it comes your spell. So, pretty cool and diverse class. Again, this is an addition. And the Pathfinder Kingmaker, this was not an option. So, it might interest you. And Brian, hopefully you appreciated that. I skipped over everything just so we could get that looked at for you. Okay, now let's finally take a look at Wizard here for today, for the second and final class we're going to be looking at. So Wizard's probably one of the most well-known archetypes in Pathfinder and D&D. We start with the basic Wizard, while Universalist. Oh my goodness. Universalist wizards might prepare themselves for any manner of danger. Specialist wizards research schools of magic that make them exceptionally skilled within a specific focus. Yet no matter the specialty, all wizards are masters of the impossible and can aid their allies in overcoming any danger. And to be honest, just as it is in the D&D and Pathfinder sessions, they start out a little weak and eventually they get kind of ridiculous. So you're going to pick a specialty for your school, level 1. And it's going to basically, in short, going to be better at casting those spells. And there's normally, whatever the opposite school is, there's some negative effects. Wizards with the Universalist school do not receive school slot. Interesting. Cantrips, so those are level 0 spells. Wizard proficiencies, so they can use basic weapons and crossbows and quarterstaffs, but not armor. Armor interferes with wizard's movement, so again, you're not going to want to be wearing armor-based wizard. And detect magic. Detects magical auras of active spells or artifacts. Can identify school of magic to which spells belong, used in dialogue. Okay. And you get bonuses. So at level, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 5 different times between 1 and 20. You get a bonus feat. It's got to be meta magic feat, spell focus feat, or other spellcasting feat. So stuff that's going to buff your spells, either make them do max damage, last longer, have a longer range, etc., etc. Arcane Bond, you're going to have a familiar or a bonded object, and this is going to enhance your skills and senses. Kind of like we were looking at the wizard or the witch, just it doesn't look like they actually store their spells within within the familiar. And let's I'm going to take a quick look again to see if we can identify what the familiars are. Now here are the specialized schools, and it's just basically going to impact the main school, and looks like they'll add special effects. So like you can abjuration. So at level 6, if you go abjuration, you're going to gain amount of energy absorption equal 3 times your wizard level per day. Conjuration specialty. This is going to a level 8. Give you dimensional step. It's kind of cool. Divination is going to give you foretell. Kind of do predictions. It's going to increase your luck bonuses to different attacks or defenses, etc. And at 20 you get forewarned. Anytime you roll initiative, assume the roll is a natural 20. Enchantment specialist is going to gain you Aura of Despair. So it gives enemies -2 penalty to ability checks, attack rolls, etc. Evocation, very offensive, is going to give you Elemental Wall, as you see here at level 8. That upgrades. And then 20 you get Spell Penetration. Wow, okay. So basically an advantage on all your rolls. So if you want to go really offensive, blast things, that's what you're going to want to go for. Illusion at level 8 gives you Invisible Field. As a swift action, you can make yourself invisible for a number of rounds. Interesting. And it's basically like greater invisibility, so quite powerful. Necromancy at level 8, Life Sight. You get Blind Sight to 10 feet. You can detect living creatures and undead creatures. And it tells you if they're living or undead. And it increases in range as you go. Interesting. And then Transmutation gives you nothing extra. I don't know if that's a bug or not. And then Universalist gets you extra meta magic elements. So extend and reach spells, empower, maximize, and quicken. So no specialty, but it gives you access to, kind of general buffs that help out everything, it looks like. And Hand of the Apprentice. You cause your melee weapon to fly from your grasp and strike Wow, so it's like a ranged melee attack? That's a little unique as well. Huh, never seen that before. And that's only for specifically that element. Okay. Alright, so those are that. And I believe... Oh yeah, we wanted to take a quick look at the cantrip. So let's take a quick... or rather the pet options. Just gonna take a look at it for everybody. Here's the bonus feats you can access to. And familiars. Okay, so you can pick a bonded object if you want. And you can use it to restore any one spell the wizard is prepared for the day. And it looks like the familiars are just as the witch that we just looked at. Raven, rat, viper. Yeah, so that's all pretty much the same. Now we will go ahead and go back and take a look at the subclasses. So we're going to start with Arcane Bomber. So Arcane Bomber, to many wizards, the experimentations of alchemists seem quaint, if not dangerous or frightening. A few wizards take it up the secret of bombs, of the bomb, however, infusing alchemy, already considerable magical power. Interesting. So it's like a wizard alchemist hybrid. Let's see what we sacrifice in game. So you still get the bonus feats. It looks like you still get 5. Opposition school. So okay, so this is a wizard that chooses to specialize in one school of magic must select 2 other schools as his opposite schools, representing knowledge, sacrifice in one area, arcane lore to gain mastery in another. So again, you get 1 specialty and 2, or you're gonna get less options for it. There's 2 of those. Opposition school. I don't know why there's 4 of them. Maybe that's a typo. Unless you get specialized twice, I don't know. You get your normal wizard proficiencies. Detect magic. Scribe scrolls. Okay, so you can craft scrolls during camping. That's a feature. I don't know if it's implemented yet. But basically, you just can turn spells into scrolls and then cast them as scrolls or sell them. Arcane Bomb. So gains the ability nearly identical to the Alchemist Bomb ability. Unlike Alchemist, the Arcane Bomb chooses one type of energy. So one of the elements, and he can throw bombs that type, but he cannot modify them with discoveries. So baseline bombs. And obviously you can do it. You're already going to have a huge intelligence modifier, so that's going to let you throw more of them. Okay. So thrown bombs have range 30. And throw splash weapon special attack. Okay, can be selected using feats such as point blank shot and weapon focus. Interesting. And it does level up, it looks like, as you go higher levels. So, splash damage from Arcane Bomb is always equal to the bomb's minimum damage, 2d4. Okay, guys, just giving an example. So as your intelligent modifier goes up, not only can you cast it more often or use it more often, you're going to do more damage. Then Spellbound Bombs. At first level, as a swift action, Arcane Bomber can sacrifice one of his spells to empower the next bomb he throws during the turn. So bonus to hit with the next bomb he throws before the end of his turn equal to the level spell sacrifice, and a bonus to damage equal twice the level of the spell. Nice, and since they do splash damage, if you sacrifice this with good timing, this could be pretty powerful. So, again, it is exactly what it says it is. Wizard with a touch of Arcanist. Exploiter Wizard. Contrary to traditional wizardry, wizardly study, an Exploiter Wizard forgoes the tried and true methods of arcane focus and arcane skills for the exploits favored by an Arcanist. Some wizards regard the blatant exploitation of arcane magic as somehow cheating, but most exploiters believe this prejudice is close-minded and overly traditional. But this is interesting. So I thought the Arcanist was already kind of a hybrid, kind of wizard-like. But let's take a look what this is. So you get your cantrips, you get your proficiencies, very similar to normal wizard. So you get your bonus feats, and here's the exploitation. By bending and sometimes even breaking the rules of magic, the Arcanist learns to exploit gaps, exceptions, and laws of magic. Some of these exploits allow her to break down various forms of magic, adding their essence to her arcane reservoir. First level and every 2 levels thereafter, you can learn a new arcane exploit. Arcane exploits cannot be selected more than once. Once an exploit has been selected, it cannot be changed. Most Arcanist exploits require Arcanists to spend points from her arcane reservoir to function. Interesting. And I'll take a look at that. We'll see what the level 1 option is for that. You can still scribe scrolls. You have your arcane reservoir. So this is just like an Arcanist. You have an innate pool of magic energy used to fuel or Arcanist exploits, and this increases as you level up. Makes sense. So again, this is that energy source that you use to fuel these exploits that we discussed. And you get greater exploits at level 11, and then it looks like every 2, so 13, 15, instead of an Arcanist exploit. So you can always still start with the basic ones. So the ones we're going to look at right now, they're going to be basic because, let's see, oh, it will show you the greater one. So let's take a quick look at this. So here's like Acid Jet. You can unleash a jet of acid by expending 1 point from Arcanist Reservoir. So it's 1d6 points of acid damage plus Arcanist Charisma modifier, and an extra 1d6 point of damage for every 2 levels. Interesting. There's also second element to it. Arcane Barrier. 1 point from Arcanist Reservoir to create a barrier of magic that protects her from harm. So it gives you extra temporary hit points. Okay. Armored Mask. Ooh, you can get the effect of Illusion of Armor. She gets the benefits of Mage Armor spell of a cast level that equals to her Arcanist level. And if you have already Mage Armor cast on you, you get Shield of Faith instead. So that's pretty cool. So again, if you want to just get your AC bumped up, Dimensional Slide. She can step through to reach another location, so it's like a blink of sorts. Energy Shield. So this protects against energy basically, so you can do, Energy Shield Fire or Acid or whatever. Flame Arc. So similar to Acid Jet, looks like it's like a flame attack that's going to level up. Force Strike. Blast the Force. The attack automatically strikes one target within 30 feet, so it's auto hit as a magic missile. You cannot avoid it. And does base damage. So good for things that are hard to hit or have high AC. Ice Missile. Again, launching an Ice Missile. Scaling damage and off of levels and charisma. Looks like. Lightning Lance. Again, range lightning attack. Same concept as some of the other missile attacks, but now it does lightning damage, causes vision to be impaired. So, cause as if they had concealment 20. Interesting. Potent Magic. So this buffs so you already can buff the powers of your spells, and this is like a 2-to-1 ratio. That's pretty interesting. So again, Potent Magic, perfect name. Shadow Veil. So better increases concealment. Sonic Blast. Deafening damage. So again, sonic damage now. That scales. Spell resistances. Again, very straightforward. Increases spell resistance, the amount of spell damage you take. Wooden Flesh. So here you gain natural armor and damage reduction against slashing. And again, you want to have high charisma modifiers for this. So this scales really well if you keep pumping charisma. But again, wizards are intelligence based. So obviously this would push you to bump up charisma and intelligence. Burning Flame is a greater exploit. So more powerful, it costs 2 points. You can catch things on fire, and then they take a bunch 3d6 damage until they get put out. That's pretty amazing. Dancing Electricity. So just kind of like Chain Lightning-ish. Interesting. Greater Spell Resist. So again, just make sure spell resist even higher. Hellfire Ray. Again, fire-based upgrade to Flame Arc, I guess. Holy Water Jet. So holy damage, I'm guessing here. Yeah. Damage. Doesn't even say actually what type. Huh. Just says 1d8 points of damage plus charisma modifier. Icy Tome. So this is like an ice missile, a better, greater, more powerful version of that. Lingering Acid. An upgrade to Acid Jet, as you can see here, more damage, more effects. And Swift Consume. Interesting. So this lets you, our actions are either free actions, swift actions, move actions, or standard actions. So instead of having to waste a swift action to consume magic, or rather move action, it's now a swift action. So you could technically move, consume magic, and then cast a spell. So that is all of that. And let's take a look. Are we... Okay, so that's the Exploiter Wizard. Let's take a look at the Scroll Savant. I'm going to guess this has to do with making scrolls. Some wizards consider scrolls a natural extension of their magical abilities. So, okay, whoa, way different. Quite a few less bonus feats are... So I don't know what the typo is, because the typing says you get it from 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, but here it's only showing on the 15 and the 20th. So it looks like you'd be sacrificing 3 of them. Instead, you get Scroll Focus. You add half your class level, minimum 1, as a bonus. You use magic device checks. You'll always take 10 on use magic device, so this makes it easier to use scrolls and higher level scrolls. You get specialized, so whenever you use a scroll... Oh, interesting. So it just... You calculate the DC for any spell it contains using his intelligence modifier. So normally scrolls are kind of set in their strength. This, basically, if you have a really high intelligence, lets you make those spells harder to resist or avoid. And you get Scroll Mastery 10th. Use his own caster level instead of the item caster level when using a scroll. That's huge. So if you're level 20, so instead of the item is a level 5 scroll, it would act as a level 20 scroll. Much more powerful. You get your Arcane Bond. So now familiar or the item. Obviously, you get to make scrolls. You get your cantrips, wizard proficiency to detect magic. So this is really powerful one or two ways. One, if you want to craft your own scrolls, but if you've played this game or the previous one, you notice you get a ton of scrolls as you play. And so most people just sell them, but this is a way to effectively just get way more use out of those scrolls. Especially if you hold on to some of the ones you get early on. As soon as you get scroll specialization, even at 5, they're going to be much, much more effective. So you can start spamming those. Obviously, if you burn through all of them, it could get a little expensive if you're having to buy the scrolls. Because unless they change it, scribe scrolling during camping takes a long time. Multiple days per scroll. So it's not like you can camp once and, create 10 scrolls. Doesn't work like that. Alright, let's take a look at the final one for today. Is Thassilonian Specialist. While the concept of wizards specializing along the classically recognized schools of magic certainly dates back to the time of Aslan, and perhaps beyond into the dim recesses of time before humanity rose to prominence, was the Rune Lords of Thassilon who explored school specialization to its full extremes. Focusing the research on the discovery that each school of magic was opposed by 2 specific opposed schools, the Rune Lords developed methods of further enhancing their mastery over their chosen arcane specialties. Essentially, they defined these 7 schools as much by what they couldn't do as what they could. By excising impurities introduced by fixed opposition schools, they trade arcane versatility for greater strength in a chosen field. So it's taking those opposition schools to a whole new level. So a Thassilonian Specialist wizard receives 2 additional spell slots of each spell level he casts. So instead of 1, The bonus spell slot must both be used to prepare the same spell from the Wizard's School of Specialization, allowing the wizard to cast that spell twice. Cannot be used to prepare two different spells. And the restriction does not get to customize his choice of opposing schools. So they're like pre-selected. So if you know you're gonna be like an evocation wizard or like necromancy or whatever, and you're not somebody that needs access to a bunch of stuff and you don't like the other specialists, this can basically just get you even more cast of the same spell. So you want to go evocation, you love your fireball spells, well, boom, an extra 2 fireball cast. That, I don't think I have to tell most people that play D&D or Pathfinder how powerful that is. So again, same wizard bonus feats, same arcane bond and scribe ability. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So that takes us to the end of the overview of the Witch and the Wizard. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and again, special thanks to Brian for this recommendation. And I will be back soon, going back to our normal order of things. Next video, unless I get special requests to do otherwise, is likely to be starting with Cleric and Druid. Maybe we'll have time to look at Fighter as well with this in-depth format. Again, if you enjoy this content, you can help us out by liking and subscribing. And yet again, it is Leeroy Gaming here. I will talk to you guys later.